Gouche is calm, cool, and collected, while Rosey is loud, brash, and opinionated. And make no mistake, they both know their stuff, and hockey is their business. And now, Gouche and Rosey.
I have not got the two connected yet. Hey, he's Rosey. I'm Gouche. It is the Gouche and Rosey show. I'm cool and calm. He's loud and brass and somewhat opinionated. So I'm going to ask you right off the bat, what went on with Team Canada against? It's just unbelievable. I am in Team Czechia for the second time in a row eliminates Canada. We're going into fifth place. Paul, why?
2 years in a row, not good. And I tell you one thing, it starts at the top. Wrong coach, wrong attitude on the bench, too much panic at the wrong time, bad penalties. It just wasn't meant to be. It's, realistically, you're going to have Czechia and the U.S., Finland and Sweden. They're the best four teams in this tournament, sadly, right now. And Canada, unfortunately, has a lot to do to work on for next year in Minnesota, in the home of Corey Katina.
Yeah, well, you can't certainly blame goaltending. You can't blame the effort. McKenna, I just absolutely loved this game. Was on at all times. But here it is. This is going to be, I feel for the man, Dave Cameron. As we said, this is like religion to Canadians. And this is an embarrassment. This is, I've been around the world as you have. I'll take the blame that I need to take the blame. But I'll tell you what, somebody miscalculated. And the miscalculation was putting a person in charge that just didn't seem to be the right guy. And here's why. Why would you make the call in a game where you're dominating? I think they had one shot. The Team Czechia had one shot up until this point. It's a lame duck call. That it was a goal. Not really. You saw it. I saw it. Was it a challenge that was worth taking when you had all this momentum and you decide to take a call, and then every single person in that rink must be scratching their head? Yep. We just told the players to be disciplined. How stupid can we be? I didn't like the decision to challenge the goal in the third, killing the penalty, killed our momentum. They didn't score on it. You're right. But it certainly changed the dynamic of the game. And I'll tell you what, beautiful wife Tony and I were watching the game, and she was the one that pointed it out right away, saying, why would he do that? And she's not you or me. Paul, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just do not get that somebody up above is watching that and telling Cameron to challenge that. And that's where someone has to step in and say, no, we've got the momentum. We've got it all going. Yes, they did not score. For everybody that's watching, that's going to go, what are you guys talking about? They didn't score. It changed the momentum. And then they got the other penalty and Czechia scored to win it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think the refereeing was poor in this game. Is that the reason why Canada lost? No chance. Canada, it just wasn't their tournament from the start, Gooch. They just did not look good in other than the first game against Finland where they won 4-0. They didn't look like Canada in any of the games.
No, and of course, somebody pointed out the two referees, Finnish and American.
Yeah, you know what? I don't buy that crap. I think a bad rep's a bad rep, no matter where he's from.
Well, come on, no, but the inconsistency, you have to really think about it. I think they didn't call that 5-minute penalty come on, honestly. A brutal call. This game is a tough game, no question. But when a good check is a good check, you don't need to be penalized for it. And what's really confusing to me is the referee put his hand up as the kid lay on the ground. The kid looked up, saw the referee with his hand up, and laid there a little bit longer, and then goes and grabs his hamstring, and then gets carted off, and then the 5 minutes called. And when Gibson threw his hit, That was more a knee on knee. The first
Yeah.
one was not knee on knee, but yet they called it a knee penalty.
And they gave the guy 5. And the thing I don't understand too is the refereeing is you can't blame the kid. Kid goes down. A lot of guys do that. They look up. They're 17, 18 years old. The ref's calling the penalty. I'm staying down.
I agree.
I don't. Hey, the one thing that was pointed out to me, did you see the coach of Czechia?
No.
Well, you got to get a look at the coach of Czechia. He looks like my twin brother that was never born from my mother.
All right, I'll do that.
My daughter-in-law watching the game goes, that's your twin brother that you don't know is alive. The coach of Czechia looked exactly like me.
I will take a peek at that. Hey, listen, it's a tough night. It's a tough pill to swallow. 2 years in a row, 5th. And what's more incredible, it's in our own country. Who's to blame? Who's to blame, do you think? Is it the players? Is the coaching staff? Is it the overall arrogance of our Team Canada or the Hockey Canada? What are your thoughts? Love to get Corey Catino was watching it. He can't believe it either, and he was rooting for the Americans. We're done. It's over.
It's the Americans' tournament to lose now. They're too. I can't see Czechia staying with them. I'm calling U.S. to beat Czechia, Finland to beat Sweden, U.S. to beat Finland in the final, and Czechia to beat Sweden for the bronze. But you know what? The thing that I'm like, it's just people are shaking their heads is the guys at TSN. I worked at TSN. I've done games for them for 15 years. We had a U.S. Russia final on TSN in 2014. It's hard. They're going to have to do 2 semifinal games, a bronze and a gold with no Canada.
It's going to be tough, but that's what the tournament's about. I say U.S. I'm with Cortina. It is going to be U.S. over Sweden. I think Sweden's going to beat Finland, and I think it's going to be a very entertaining final. I think, though we want to see U.S. versus Canada.
Hold on. You have U.S. Sweden like Cortina?
Yes, I do.
I have U.S. Finland.
I got that. I understood that.
Okay.
I'm not agreeing with you.
That's fine. Not a problem. Not a problem.
World Juniors is losing its luster as a Canadian. I look forward to this tournament every year, but this sucks. The Ducks beat my Winnipeg Jets 4-3 in overtime. Just breaking news. Well, we could sit here and cry the blues.
Just really quick too, Ovechkin. I don't know whether they won or lost Washington, but Ovechkin scored again.
Yes, I saw that. He is still on pace to break Gretzky's record. We've talked about the disappointment. There's going to be ramifications. People are they are very upset. And I think, as Dave Stubbs has just came in and said, World Juniors is losing its luster as a Canadian. It used to be, is it because we lose that we lose his luster? Still some pretty good hockey. It was a pretty good hockey game. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of drama. And our big guys didn't do what they needed to do. I love McKinnon game. I love that kid. I think I see everything. I see stardom. I'm still a little bit down on Cowan. I don't know. He was just not sharp. He did not. Patron was good. I thought he was good. I thought Cameron finally put, some of the firepower. They played him lots. They had a lot of great scoring chances.
Czechia, you got to give Czechia a goalie to do too. He made some big stops at the right time. But I think that this team they're going to take a good look. They're going to take a good look at it.
We're good. I wouldn't say they were.
Go ahead.
Wild win in overtime against the Capitals. And yes, Ovechkin did score. It's hard to watch. Penalty calls were sketchy at best tonight. Not to make excuses, but the game seemed too much for their Euro refs to handle. The unfortunate part is one was an American, and I didn't like him. I just didn't like I didn't like his demeanor. You could just feel it. He was looking for things. The referees should not be looking for penalties. They should just be calling penalties. And I think the usage of replay, I watched the replay 3 times, and I still couldn't get a 5-minute call out of that thing. Like
No.
a 2-minute was too much.
Yeah. I'm going to be careful and not talk about referees right now because I still might want to come back to Australia at one point next year.
I know. I think we're both in the doghouse still. All right, listen, Cameron, he's done.
He's done. Unfortunately, he's done. He repped a long time, and he might rep again. He might coach again, but he's not.
Yeah, no, maybe
he's
he
not,
should ref.
Yeah, he's not coaching at the Canada level. And I heard I can't remember who had said it on Twitter, but maybe it's time that Canada puts a full-time coaching staff together for this tournament, and they give them 3 or 4 years, and that's all their job is to get prepared for that 1 10-day stretch. And it's a full-time staff, but the one thing Stephen Ellis said, they're going to get George back. I thought George was tremendous. I don't think you can fault him for any of the goals.
I think the last goal he left, he had to get over quicker. He didn't have the post covered. Again,
still
I'm not
a power play. Gouche is still a power play, and you got to be so careful.
Get over it.
Going side to side, it's so difficult. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you. The second goal is defenseman put it in with his hand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought George played great. I think he's
up until that point, unbelievable. Not question it. Again, big time players make big time things happen. I just take another peek. There was a little opening he gave the guy. The guy had a great shot.
It was under the arm. In the grand scheme of things, you'd like him to catch that under the arm. But where'd you get the thumbs up there?
I don't know. Everything just works here. Crazy.
Hey, what about? I'll go ahead, read it.
Hey guys, a little off topic. My Rangers and Sens thoughts and predictions. Been to 2 junior games in Ottawa. Very puzzling and sad. Rick, we're going to come back to that Rangers and Sens. Let's do that right at the end of the show. Game has passed Cameron by. He overthought things. Take the best players we have and run with it like every other team does. Very, very solid point.
Great point, Stubbsy.
Yeah, attaboy, Stubbsy.
Stubbsy's always right on point. Hey, real quick, what'd you think of that comeback by Germany, man, to stay in the A pool? I thought Kazakhstan had that game won.
Well, 3-1. You called me. I had not watched any of it, and then came home, and yeah, it shows a true heart for them to come back after being down 3-1. It wasn't their best performance this tournament, but they stayed up, and it certainly helps the German national program, both on the junior, women's, and of course their national men's team. So,
yeah,
all right.
A lot of people don't understand the amount of money when you're in the A pool versus the B pool versus the C pool. Germany really needed that, and Kazakhstan goes down. Denmark comes up. Denmark with a big win over Austria. They'll be in the tournament next year in Minnesota.
Looking forward to it. Hey, good for Germans, but would like to see the great story of the Kazakhstan. No, I get that. Sorry, running in late. Who's the winner of the championship from here? Well, we just said it. I think we could take a peek. Aaron, predictions were already made. Paul is saying, who are you saying, bud?
U.S. gold, Finland silver, and Czechia bronze.
And I'm going with USA and Swedes. I think the US are too strong. And then I think what's really important is to say that the Finns will go up against, who are they going up against?
Czechia.
You sure it's not Canada?
Positive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the Finns.
One thing I'm going to tell everybody about that right now that's so mad and upset is I've been on both sides. I wore that Canadian jersey for 10 years in 3 Olympics and World Championships and World Cups, and I've worn it where we've come in the dressing room with a gold medal and gone crazy, and I've worn it where we've come in the dressing room bawling our eyes out and never wanting to talk to another human being. So when you start writing shit on Twitter, remember that these are 17, 18, 19-year-old boys who you know, they're devastated. We're devastated as a country. They played the game.
Hey, this is a toughie. I don't think Dave Cameron should coach ever again. I think the problem with Dave Cameron now, he will live with this legacy now. Trust me, in his own country. Obviously, he's coaching in the OHL. He will pay a price. People will take this personal.
No, he's in big trouble. Hey, Chucky, baby, let me know your thoughts on that last goal. I thought George played really well. Power play goal at the end. It leaked through his underarm. You know, Gooch thought he should have had it.
But it didn't leak through. It was a clear right through.
No. But I meant it. He got it was through his underarm. He didn't come over fast enough. But I'm not blaming him for that one. I know you are. I'm not.
I'm not blaming him for the loss. I'm just saying.
No. You said you thought he should have had that one.
That's all. That's all I'm saying.
But you're entitled to your opinion.
So he's going to rewatch it. Hey, you guys coming down to watch a couple of games? We are going to think about that for sure. Have you picked a player from the juniors that you'd love to see in the NHL? I'm going to say this. I'm going to think that McKenna, I love his game. I really love his game.
He's still 17, wearing the full cage.
Yeah, he's a beauty. I want to see that kid. I didn't mind Gibson. I did not miss Gibson. I didn't not like Gibson's game. Okay, penalty at the end, questionable, but certainly I would love to see that guy play. He's going to be a big one.
I want to see George with LA in about 5 years.
Okay, USA. So many kids that play together on their everyday teams. Their chemistry is elite. I agree with that. Chuck Basti, Finns go against Swedes. Wow, that's an upset.
No, Finns go against Swedes in the semifinal.
Oh, is that what he's talking about? I thought, oh, that's right. I thought maybe you were saying it was going to be the gold medal game. U.S. baby, just like 2014 in Sydney, Australia. Sorry, Paul. Love you guys. Kennelly hockey.
Hey, Kennelly, you weasel. I haven't talked to you in years.
That last goal was a seeing eye goal.
I agree with you. That's a goalie's perspective, Gooch. You are a scorer. We're goalies.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying I would have not scored on that one because the goalie would have made a save. I don't blame the players. I think leadership management failed them more than they failed. Poor asset management. Completely agree with that. The first goal, George was back, but other than that, he played well. He played very well. Yeah. What's the expectation on age and timing to make it into the NHL? Great question. Listen, there's some that are just going to, like a Connor Bedard, whips right in there at the ripe age of 19. That's tough. That's tough. I think there's not a lot of guys that can do it. I think Cale Makar did it, but I think Sidney Crosby, if I'm not mistaken. I think
usually your first pick overall, maybe even the second pick overall, will make the team right out of the draft at 18 years old. But usually you got to wait a year or two. I'd like to honestly see it where you can't, whether you're drafted number one overall, you got to spend a couple years in junior. In the American Hockey League.
Yeah. Some of those Americans are cocky, but their swagger is well earned. Class for the tournament, unfortunately. Hey, what's the youngest player to play in the NHL? That's a very good question. I know Gretzky was 17 when he played in the WHA.
No, you have to be at least 18 because the draft is 18. So
great question, Aaron. I can't tell you, but I'll tell you what, we've got some guys out there that will look. I know I could Google, but I'd rather ask Gouche and Rosey. All right, you're asking us. Corey Katina, we need an answer really quickly for our buddy Aaron.
Bedard was one of the youngest at 18 and a bit, but you have to be at least 18. Unlike the NBA where you can come out of high school, you can't play until you go through the draft, and you can't be drafted until you're 18. But I like the idea, Gooch, of playing a year or two in the American Hockey League.
McMahon gets, but we are losing.
What's that?
Maybe I should ask, what's the oldest? The oldest would be, I think, Gordie Howe, of course, played till I think 51.
Well, yeah, he was the oldest ever. You had Chelios was in his 40s. You had Brodeur. Yeah. You've got Ovechkin now. You definitely got some older guys.
Slavoski was 18. Hey, Aaron Kuzak, all these questions. Oldest player drafted or redrafted to the NHL. Wow. We're supposed to be experts, Paul.
Yeah, well, that's more trivial than trivia.
That's why we love him.
Yeah,
That's why
we
we love
do.
Aaron Kudak.
Well, there was some of the old Russians that were taken, in their 20s, and they couldn't win the Rookie of the Year because they played pro hockey overseas. Makarov and guys like that. Remember the KMH line or the KLMH
Yeah.
line? Makarov, Larionov, and Krutov. Sounded like a salad, a Russian salad.
Crying the blues.
Yeah.
You're breaking
Too
up quite
late.
a bit. I'm
How
not
are
sure
you?
if it's on my side or your side. Too late
It's on your side.
for a Gouche comeback. 65. I went skating for an hour and I couldn't do it. I remember the KLM line. It's an airline.
Yeah. Oh, Kuzak's on fire.
He's one of my favorite.
Yep. Mine too.
Okay, Paul, let's wrap it up with a little bit of NHL news. We know that there's not much more we can do on this side other than cry. But I'm thinking that the NHL is very interesting right at this moment. We're looking at some of the scores tonight. Obviously, you've mentioned Ovechkin scoring, losing tonight. Boston Bruins lose to the New York Rangers. Is there a resurgent? I know that there are people out there that are hoping that the New York Rangers can get back in it. Could this be the start of their opportunity, as Rick Wharton had asked his Bruins? Senators look good. I like the Senators. I like what they're doing. Are they back? Ottawa Senators lose tonight, unfortunately, 4-2 to the Dallas Stars. Anaheim Ducks beat the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 in overtime. That means Minnesota's going to move up.
You know the one team that's hotter than hot right now? Who's the hottest team in the NHL right now in the last week?
Carolina Hurricanes?
Montreal Canadiens. 3 big wins in a row. They beat Florida, they beat Tampa, and then they beat Vegas. They are on fire, and I loved watching when they beat Vegas. I loved watching the interaction they showed in the dressing room with St. Louis and the team, and that Canadian team is very close to a playoff spot right now. You better watch out for them.
And Chicago tomorrow. They go up against Chicago tomorrow.
That'll be tough on Canadian. Yeah, I think my mom could come back from the dead and beat Chicago with a bunch of her friends.
Only 3 points up in a wild card spot. Love it. Are the Jets still in flight? No, they are down tonight. Love you, boys. Chat soon. I'll let you dry your eyes after the Canadian debacle. Thanks, Aaron. Love you too. 10:50 in Toronto, boys. You need to hit the pillow.
It's only 8:50 in Yellowknife. It's not even 9 o'clock.
What's the temperature in Yellowknife?
Minus 45.
Hey, Aaron, take that. Go to bed with that. No, they're up. Aaron, I think they're probably at plus 25 or something like that. All right, Paul, anything you want to add to a night of disappointment? I think that's more important. Is there a summit going to be planned? Who's going to pay for this?
Yeah, you know what? There's no reason for a summit. It's terrible. 2 years in a row in Canada, 5th place is unacceptable. It has to start from the top. We have to put together a much better management team. Whether I saw Steve Yzerman there, Hockey Canada has so many other issues. They have to address this and put together a better management team and make sure that the best players in Canada are in this tournament. They left out some players. They didn't have the best possible team. It showed in the result. 5th place is unacceptable.
Hey, I was in bed at 9:30 New Year's Eve. What a party animal. Hey, Marty Roberts, always great to have you on. It's clean house time. I agree. I think Hockey Canada looks inside themselves and understand it is that simple, cleaning house.
I agree.
In the 4 nations. Wait. Gouche and Rosey rebuild should be the next episode. Who would be on your who would be your ideal coaching panel? That's a great question. You know, give us a couple of days. We will come back to this.
About that.
Obviously, when the gold medal is when the gold medal is done, when we hear the feedback that's going to come through, I got my good friend Donnie Depot out in Edmonton automatically saying, Dave Cameron, it's past his time. You know what happens? Sometimes you go to the fridge, you got a coffee, you pick the milk up, you put it in, and all of a sudden it curdles, right? And you look at the package, the due date. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
And I don't think it's Cameron's fault. He got offered the job and he took it. He should have never been offered the job.
Yeah, they've got to look within that organization. Smarter minds have to prevail. Hey, listen, spilt milk, but Canada goes down in a very close game. Only that I think a couple other points as we leave here. That goal at the last couple of seconds in the first really killed them. Obviously, the last goal with only 30 seconds to go hurt them. This team, you know, we learn as a hockey player, it's so important. You can't let anything in that last minute. You do everything to make sure it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, we weren't ready. Hey, how much really can the coach do? Sometimes the coffee just tastes bad. That's a good one. Peter Young, Kerry Goulet. Kerry Goulet would have been a better choice. Oh, wait. Peter, they had enough great gate openers there. Don't be silly.
I let me just say that I disagree with Aaron on that. I think a coach can make at this level, maybe in the NHL it's a little different, but at the junior level, a coach can make a huge difference.
Well, the call is just putting the line combinations together in a tournament where an NHL coach has months to plan or a month to plan in training camp, and he knows what he's getting. Dave Cameron, it's not just his decision. There was a panel of people that put the team together. They left out some good ones. We know that. But he's given that team, he's got to put it together. That's why you are the head coach. And I think it's really important.
He's still, no matter what they do, he's still the bottom line that makes that roster. No matter what people said to you, you asked opinions of 5, 6, 7 guys, but you were the one that made that final roster, Gouche, last year, and you're the one that has to live with the win or the loss.
Yeah. Hey, we focused on the OHL and forgot there are amazing players in other leagues. Also, we snubbed our U.S. college stars every year. It's a good point.
Always.
Good. All right. Anything to add to our disappointing evening?
No, take it easy. If you drink, have a drink. If you don't like me, have a Pepsi. And get ready for 2 really good semifinal games on Saturday. Good
question. Last question for our viewers. How hard is it to get a team to gel given the limited time in camp? Well, so here are the things. We talked to Stephen Ellis. There were a couple players, Radcliffe. No, what was with Patron, Raycroft, and him play on a line together. You should, as the United States, they had players that played. He should have had more players playing together.
Yep, 100%. Because that's the gel. That's the gel. And you got to have sometimes that little thing that bonds the team together in the dressing room. You know what it's like. I just don't think they had it.
Well, and this thing here where it says it's even harder when you cancel practices. I heard he canceled, but I don't understand that whole mess. That'll come out as we go. Huge Viking game Sunday. It is. I'm looking forward to it. The weekend school. Okay.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, my brother is probably watching. You're watching. Katina's watching. Stubby's watching. All us Viking fans that went through 4, losses with Fran Tarkenton and all the best. They're beating Detroit in Detroit to get the #1 seed, and they're going all the way to the Super Bowl.
Even Aaron Kuzak is going to be a Vikings fan. Hey, Peter Young, I know deep down inside you also a Vikings fan. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kerry Goulet, the Gouche. He's Paul Rosey. It is time. It is time for us to take a nap because we are tired. And we'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk a lot more NHL tomorrow, of course. Hey, I'm watching 2 now. Vikings. Raycroft and Martone are elite together with the Steelheads, yet neither were in the lineup together, which was one of the many mistakes. I agree. That came from Steve Stephen Ellis today. Dave, thank you for bringing that up, and that's incredible. And finally, it's Viking lose your. If Vikings lose, you streak in yellow knife. That's right.
No, I never said the Vikings. I what did I say about my streaking?
I thought if Team Canada lost, you'd streak through something. I thought that's what
It was something about Canada.
Yeah, I even got a Vikings hat. Hey,
Canada
great
and
name.
Germany. It was Canada or Canada
That's right.
somebody. I said it doesn't matter. I'm not streaking it. I'm not even going out and yelling knife in shorts.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time. Paul Rosen, love you. The Gouche and Rosey Show.
You've been listening to Gouche Live with your host, Kerry Goulet, better known as The Gouche, brought to you by the Hockey News and Sports Illustrated.